And Fulham celebrate their first win of the new campaign. Alex Iwobi's second half goal was the difference. It came after a lull in play, really. Leicester fought back in the first half. They conceded first. They equalised throughout fast, but it is defeat on the road for Steve Cooper. They had opportunities, but they couldn't quite fight back the way they did ultimately on Monday against Tottenham. Full-time score at Craven Cottage in the sunshine now. Fulham 2, Leicester 1.
Thank you very much, Chris. Yes, welcome to the post-match show here on Match Day Live with me, Dan Bates, David Nugent and Jerry Taggart are in the studio with me. But at Craven Cottage, Matt has been on co-commentary duty, Matt Elliott, and has watched that. A disappointing defeat in the end, Matt. How do you assess that?
Yeah, it was fine margins, certainly in the second half, and obviously narrow scoreline. So you can look at certain aspects of the game, and they weathered the storm early on, but there were as many negatives as there are positives out there, really. But first and foremost, obviously the defeat itself. But Leicester weren't really able to muster too much threat, and string together sort of in attacking areas. And you say patterns of play, but combinations really to link up. It was very sporadic, and Fulham weren't startlingly good in the second half. They had that period in the first where they looked a real slick outfit, and Smith Rowe in particular was looking a threat, and numerous individuals across the board, but they didn't really come out and take it to Leicester second half. So I think ultimately there'd been an element of frustration. You could say it was closely fought away from home. Fulham are tough opposition, which they are. But coming here overall to get themselves back into the game, they didn't really show enough. They're going to need to show more, put it that way, to get through this season with targets achieved. Really, at early stages, yes. Learning process to a degree, but they have to learn very, very quickly.
Jerry?
Yeah, absolutely. I think, what we spoke about the first half, where Leicester slightly fortunate, but a good headed goal from a set piece to come in 1-1 after weathering the storm in that first half. We said it was going to be a big half-time team talk for Steve Cooper yet again. But, you've got to be honest, Leicester didn't really worry Fulham too much in an attacking sense. Yes, they did pretty well to thwart Fulham in the second half in regards to goal-scoring opportunities. But then you've got to analyse the goal as well. Disappointing way to concede that goal. And I think there was only one shot on target from Wilfred Ndidi in that second half. I know Abdul Fattah had a chance where he nips inside and tries to curl it into that far corner. It just goes wide. But other than that, I think the most frustrating thing for me was they never really got a foothold in the game with the ball at their feet. The turnover of possession was pretty high this afternoon. And I think that'll be, pretty frustrating for Steve Cooper and the staff.
There wasn't a spell in the second half where you thought, we're going to get on the front foot here and create a few chances.
Yeah.
We never got in the positions to do that. As Jerry said, there's Fatou cutting in from his left over the crossbar, that one, and I think it was Ndidi's shot in the last minute, which trickled into the keeper's arms, which is the only two threatening we had in the second half. I don't think Steve Cooper will be happy with the second half performance. I think Fulham didn't create much either. No, I think they were there for the taking, Fulham, because they didn't really create much. They didn't play that well.
They weren't fluent, were they?
No. And it was just like two, one from Smith Rowe in the first half, and then the Iwobi's finish. Again, pretty similar position from the first goal, weren't on that left-hand side, JJ's side, and Mads does get a hand to it, but just can't get enough to get it over the crossbar. And I think all in all, Fulham deserved to win the game because they scored the most goals. But again, Leicester didn't really threaten in the game to get anything out of it.
Yeah, I think that for me that's the main. There was ample opportunities for Leicester to move forward in possession of the ball, but all too often, I don't know what it is. Whether they were at times afraid to give the ball away. There was a pass on, I was talking to Nuge, I think it was a ball into Buonanotte, who was the furthest man forward, and it was turned down and it came back inside. And I'm thinking, if you're a centre forward, you want that ball played in early and give yourself the best chance to get on and get a shot away at goal. It was turned down. We've seen it 3 or 4 times in the first half where they just didn't want to play that ball. They'd rather play the safe pass. And I think they've got to get over that in the future. And there's nothing wrong with giving the ball away in the right areas of the pitch by trying to do the right thing and trying to pull off the right pass. And it's just too often today they were afraid of doing that.
It's like, well, I'm saying your Madisons, your De Bruynes and other guys don't turn that pass down. I know they're world-class players, but they play that ball through to their strikers to run onto to score a goal. They don't turn them passes down. That's why they score so many goals and create so many chances. Just in the final third, we just turn down the best opportunities to get forward, being a bit nervous or scared to lose the ball in possession.
It'll be interesting, Matt, to hear what Steve Cooper has to say after that one, just to hear his assessment, I guess, of the 90 minutes.
Yeah, it probably won't be too dissimilar to what the boys have picked up on there, really. Small consolation, from making it a tight affair, in terms of the scoreline. And like the lads have said, and I mentioned, Fulham weren't anything, outrageously special today. Obviously got some quality in the ranks, but it's not like Leicester are streets behind them. But perhaps it's developing, and they've got to develop it pretty quickly, is that belief, that genuine belief. And when they've got that, perhaps they'll attempt and even complete those situations that the lads are on about there, and just have a little bit more conviction about their game, really. Because Leicester have got some quality themselves, and you can't lose sight of that. You can't perhaps listen to a lot of people who think Leicester are going to be definite relegation contenders. It's going to be a difficult season. It's going to be challenging without a doubt, and I think that everyone's aware of that. But you can't lose sight of your own attributes as well. And Leicester have certainly got even against Tottenham, there were a few occasions second half they really rallied themselves. But you sort of felt that Leicester were playing at full tilt in that second half, giving their all, and they're going to have to do that as often as they can. But they can't just rely on 100% energy, guts, and spirit as well. They've got to produce the quality that they have in the ranks. They've got to do it with belief and regularity, so it becomes the norm, and not be in awe of what they're up against. Which I think that mindset can creep in sort of externally. I'm sure it isn't like that within the camp itself. Certainly not at the moment. But they've got to be strong-minded and have belief in their own abilities and take the game to the opposition as and when they can.
Yeah, I think it's a good point that he actually makes. We're analysing one game, and it's the second game of the season here. And Leicester are where they are. They're in, for want of a better expression, they're in a bit of a transitional period here because of a lot that's gone on in the last two seasons, basically, with turnover of managers, players, whatever else, and players who have little or no experience at this level. So it is going to take time. It was a tight affair. Fulham aren't experienced. Well, to quote a term that Matt would use, they're a semi-experienced Premier League side. Yes, Leicester have players that have played in the Premier League, but they've also there's a lot of players that haven't in key areas as well. And it's mainly in the areas that myself and Nuge were talking about earlier in the conversation about giving up passes that were on, whether they just didn't see them or they didn't want to give the ball away in good areas. I don't really know, but it is going to take time. It is going to be a long, difficult season, but there is a quality there. They did battle hard. They did try and stay in the game, and it's just disappointing and frustrating when they come out the other side after all that hard work and have nothing to show for it.
Yeah, I think we've got a team that will give 100% no matter what in the games. it's now just about Steve Cooper getting his points across where he wants to improve the team in the way they want to go forward with the ball. Because at the minute, I don't see how we're going to score. You know what I mean? We haven't got like patterns of play that I see on the pitch. It's like work hard, win the ball up high, and then see what we can do. That's what it seems like at the moment. But I think obviously you need to get more players, and I think more attacking players. You can see that, and I think once you've got the players and the window's shut, and a few weeks into the season, because I think the players still learning, aren't they?
Yeah.
How Steve Cooper wants to play. So I think once the window shuts, the players are in. That's done with, and then we can hopefully see the real Leicester under Steve Cooper.
Yeah, we're seeing, we were talking about the Jamie Vardy chance the other night, the one the keeper makes a save, the shot with his left foot, and the build-up play to that. We didn't really see a lot of that, if any of that today. That build-up play, that slick passing, they get themselves in the good areas, they lose possession of the ball, or they make the wrong decision at the wrong time, and where they were going to pass the ball or what they were going to do on the ball. So that's the bit that needs probably the most work, is, as David said, is that, telepathy between the players on the pitch.
Yeah, I guess, Matt, as Nuge has rightly said there's still, a week left now of the transfer window. You can assume there will potentially, hopefully, be more incomings through the door in that time. I'm sure Steve Cooper will want that himself.
Yeah, I'm sure the manager would, and so would majority of supporters. Extra numbers, always a bonus, aren't they? Whether that's feasible, possible or not, only time will tell. But I'm not sure of any players that have been mentioned publicly on the horizon. But I'm sure that the eagle eyes are out there, and negotiations are being made or discussed, certainly, but right now. But I don't know. Do you know any imminent individuals, Batesy, that are out there? Have you got any hot off the press news?
Even if I did, Matt, I definitely wouldn't say.
Ah, right, okay. Well, don't chuck that at me then. Don't ask me to come out with some scandalous nonsense. I can chuck a couple of names in there and stir the pot if you want, but no, I think, listen, a swelling of a squad with quality individuals. Steve Cooper's he's not shy about stating that he wants more numbers in there of the requisite quality. Any manager would, but if it doesn't come off, the clock's ticking on that, isn't it? You've got to make do with what is there. That sounds a bit critical. I don't mean it in that sense, but you've got to make the best job of what is your hand, and Steve Cooper's pretty good at doing that. But you can't get away from the fact that Dave Nugent just said there, where are the goals coming from? Where is the creativity and the threat? And at the moment, as much as it not just being down to the individuals that are being selected, it's Leicester's general game. Exactly, they've got to start playing, certainly in periods of the game, higher up the pitch, getting more numbers higher up, and having more control of the game and the possession. Then you can feel more confident about the play, rather than feeding off scraps a little bit, as it was at times today.
Yeah, again, that was something we're seeing a lot of, where Leicester were trying to build attacks from the edge of their own final third, or inside the edge of their own box even. And Fulham, because they're that well organised and that experienced, 9 times out of 10 it just came to nothing. And what Matt's trying to say is, well, let's get the ball further up the pitch. Pick the second balls up, which again Leicester weren't fantastic at today, picking second balls up and then getting your ball players on the ball in the middle third or on the edge of the middle third, going into the final third and playing from there. We didn't really see a lot of that today.
No, and well, like we said, we don't need to concentrate on whether or not any deals will be done in the next week, but obviously, potentially they might do. We've seen in the past Leicester often do business in that last week ahead of the deadline. Of course, there was business done last night as well, so watch this space, I guess, on the Leicester City social media channels, on the website and app, of course. Let's just on today, I think there's a game on Tuesday, isn't there, in the Cup. Do you think he will play a similar team to today? Will he make a lot of changes there? And then Villa, obviously, is the important one a week today.
I think he has to make changes, just give the lads a bit of a rest. It's a game with Tranmere, right?
Tranmere, yeah.
A game he should win. it's a chance for the fringe players to come in and stake their claim for a few minutes against Aston Villa. So yeah, again, I think he'll rest a few. I don't think he'll make 11 changes. I don't think he's got the players to make 11, has he? But yeah, I think there'll be a wholesale of changes and hopefully get a win under the belt, get a bit of confidence and take it into Villa.
Yeah, I totally agree. You look at the bench today, the quality that was on the bench. They'll need some minutes at some stage. Ricardo Pereira hasn't been on the pitch yet, so he'll need game time. People like that. Steffi Mavropanos made a couple of cameo appearances. McAteer the same. So all these players,
as well.
Skip, you might see him.
Ayew potentially as well.
Yeah, exactly. All these guys they'll need minutes as soon as possible, because it all goes into the melting pot of trying to find the magic formula. So they need minutes on the pitch ASAP.
Yeah, ahead of that game, of course, in a week's time, Matt, against Aston Villa, which back here at King Power Stadium, we know the supporters will be right up for that one. This is where Leicester are going to pick up the majority of the points. Obviously, I think that goes without saying for every team in the division, doesn't it, at home? But they'll really have to be on it in a week's time.
You would imagine so. Villa looked sharp last week. Obviously, big game against Arsenal today. Let's see how they fare there. But regardless of that, yes, every game is a huge challenge, a huge contest, isn't it? Especially for the likes of any team, but Leicester City and teams who are going to be having to battle and give their all, absolute all, as regularly as possible, and rely on not just their abilities, but their will and their spirit and their collectiveness. And Steve Cooper's hoping to develop that within the club, isn't he, as well as the players' individual talents. But the fans again, they spring to the forefront of my mind. Huge part to play this campaign, as always, but perhaps even more than most. I think that was evident on Monday night against Spurs. They were reared up for it before the game, and it was a little bit of, not a damp squib, but it was a little bit of not a setback. But it was hard to watch in the first half, and it sort of took the energy out of the home supporters. But then the performance in the second half, the King Power was, it was like back in not so long ago, wasn't it? When it was really jumping at the stadium, and you could feel that energy transfer to the players, and that's going to be a big factor. It all needs to come together this season for Leicester, but they've got to develop their game. I'm sure Steve Cooper will be aware of that. They can't just said it from the outset. They can't just contain and hope to pinch things here and there. They've got to have more about them than that, and I'm sure they've got that capability within the ranks.
Perfect. Thank you very much, Matt. We'll let you go now and make that journey back up north with a number of those Leicester City supporters who themselves, I guess, Jerry, they'll be frustrated that Leicester have come away with nothing today, but there were signs of green shoots, and that hopefully then the points can start coming now. Yeah,
I think, Jordan Ayew come on, did well. He did exactly what it said on the tin. He got, a handful of free kicks. He got us up the pitch. He looked composed. When the straight balls were coming into his feet, he was controlling it and laying it off. And that's exactly. We didn't really see that throughout the game. There's a positive. Oliver Skipp come on, looked really comfortable in the middle of the pitch. Obviously has that quality we've spoken about before he came in. So there's two positives with them two, and that's all about recovering mentally from this frustrating result, which I'm sure it is for all the players in the dressing room as well as all the fans on the way back home. But as you say, there's little signs that we've been turned over in a tight game. There's a few question marks defensively over the second goal. But we've got a game at home on Tuesday and a game at home on Saturday. So, let's look forward to them.
Yeah, you can be disappointing just with the result because there was nothing in the game. It was a tight affair, and Fulham had that chance in the second half and took it. We didn't create much to get back into the game, but it was tight. There was nothing in the game, and that's the main thing. We just could have hung on for another point there. Stayed in the game.
Yeah.
Just again in possession, individual mistakes, giving the ball away in the wrong places. Defensively on the goals, could have been a bit better. But other than that, it was nip and tuck, and we could have took something away. But that's the Premier League, and it's you give away chances that usually end up in the back of the net and they punish you. Championship get away with it, Premier League you don't.
Yeah, all right. Well, thank you very much to David Nugent and to Jerry Taggart for their company this afternoon after Leicester City's first away game of the season. It's back-to-back King Power games, though, coming up in this next week. After Bank Holiday Monday, it's a Carabao Cup game with Tranmere Rovers here at, like I said, King Power Stadium. That's a 6:45 start for Matchday Live. Kickoff is 7:45. That'll then be followed by Matchday Live again on Saturday. Leicester against Villa. Big one here at King Power Stadium a week today. Thanks to all of our guests, to Matt, to Jerry and to Nuj for their company today on what in the end has turned out to be a disappointing afternoon for the Foxes, but we'll be back twice next week. See you then.